Yeah, she's calling back. We're going to try to give her a call again, and then she just added another phone number to the 13-year-old grandson who's possibly with the daughter. Step out with this.
2412.
Veteran crisis hotline's calling in, so they have a female veteran's off her medication. She's over at the safe haven. Detective 12, take a check that one out.
6 Rumble, 2 1 star, take your shots.
Officer still stands for talk? No. Offender in custody? Thanks. Anyone else close, point to 0, let me know. 10-5, sir.
Yeah, we got that 200K up there, updated from yesterday. 200K. And that's right. See something, say something. Thank you all so much for hopping in tonight. Let's get this up here. I want to say thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Uh, I am going to be dropping you guys some links here in the beginning of the show. So I'll drop a few links. Each link, I'll wait a minute for anybody that wants to click on it. Save it to a playlist. Just make it CJ show because we're always dropping links for you. And I'm going to be sharing some videos before we get started too. Because for some reason, uh, somebody thinks that the footage is grainy. I I mean I have to. I'll admit, when it comes to my live streams out here, when I'm out on the road, it's not always the best connection. So um, when it comes to the footage, I do apologize if I'm out on the road and I'm showing a video. You guys can probably see how I'm bouncing in and out. It's not a great, on the road. It's, the connections here and there. That's one of the sacrifices that I have to make. But the one thing that I don't sacrifice is the quality of the footage that we use and that we take. So anybody can go to the video tab section and you can literally watch the Sony 4K, the GoPro 5.3K. Or now we started to introduce the Moto ultra widescreen high definition videos for you guys. So, I do apologize. Like when it comes to my lives out here on the road, I don't always have that, at home connection, so to speak, like we do back in the studio. So I do apologize. It does look like the footage does come across grainy on my live stream, but if you just do your homework and you go to my actual footage, uh, then you can actually see for its clarity. Because this is what's important. Um, when it came to that corner, we didn't need to go look at the rest of the house because it's already debunked right off the first corner. Now, it's okay because some people show up late to the scene. We've been there from the beginning. And in the very beginning, we already broke down this. I mean, if you guys remember like that map that I made of the woods up and to the left, that was within the first couple weeks of us being there right after everything happened. And so we had already broken down the security for the neighborhood. That's how we came up with our searches in March and April. That's how we came up with our other searches when it came to July, August, September. And also, it's going to be coming in handy again when it comes to the next trip that we're going to be making out there. So, I understand some people may be a little late to the game or whatever, but seriously, before anybody criticizes anybody and uses uh, a, a, a victim's name to attach the ridicule of myself and my footage, I think one should probably, you know what I'm saying? If you're going to say something nasty and mean and cold hearted when it comes to my intelligence and my footage, it only takes a couple minutes to go through my video tab section and you can literally see the kind of effort and the kind of work that we do. So I apologize that they're not that they aren't up to date. So I'm going to share some links with you guys because I think it's very important, not only to the stuff that we've been talking about the last few days, but also when it comes to what we're going to be getting into tonight. And also, I came across a video as I was doing my work today, getting ready for the show, because I always like to have little, uh, other little videos before we get in. We're going to go through the new tip video that came out yesterday. But another video that I wanted to play for you guys before we watch Seth's live, and shout out to Seth for all his strength. What's up, Mr. E? Shout out to Seth for all his strength last night. It was a very I have to say, like, I didn't even know it was that bad. You know what I'm saying, guys? I didn't even know it was that bad. Okay. And our team knows a lot. And also shout out to Tony and the lab for being, even though it was Seth's show and he was the host, I think the lab and Tony did a magnificent job of not only helping Seth, uh, but also asking the right questions. And you know what I mean? Because Seth already has a lot on his mind already. And that's where you need like two great people, like Lab and Tony, to be able to. It was really it was a lot of stuff that they had to to hold together as well. And so I thought it was a an amazing live when it comes to the stuff that was mentioned. I was even in shock. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I didn't know that it was that bad, right? I didn't know that it was that bad. And this is what's crazy. The video that I'm going to show you tonight from Court TV from 7 months ago, it really matches up with a lot of the stuff that was being it's very crazy. It's like he was reaching out 7 months ago uh, about a lot of this stuff, and because it was that long ago, uh, there's a lot of people that weren't taking it seriously. And so I think it's important to, when it comes to stuff, that's mentioned or reached out to in the beginning, you can't ridicule it. You have to have a heart. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to show that for you guys first, and thank you all for being here. Appreciate you very much. I wanted to share a few links with you guys here real quick, and I'm just going to share the screen of my YouTube playlist. That way, I'm not having to click on this and this and this. I'm just basically going to share the links, but I'm going to show you guys what I'm sharing as I'm sharing it. So when it comes to the last few shows, I've been referencing the April 6th and April 7th searches when it comes to my manhole theory and what I've been trying to express all this time. If you haven't checked it out, check out the part 4. If anything, it will blow your mind when it comes to everything that I show you in it. So I'm going to share this with you guys. This is April 6th. If you're interested in saving that to a playlist, here is the live stream for the April 6th search when we were searching the construction site. This is going to be the April 7th link when it comes to the live search of the construction pond. Let me see here. Obviously, you got the debunked. We debunked that. Part 4 is right there. This is the actual video. So this is the not grainy footage. This is the actual video when I was walking around that retention pond that day. So here's the link for that. And these are all GoPro or Sony 4K. Most of them are GoPro 5.3K. This one is a clip of shout out Narc Divers. This one is a clip of Narc Divers just to show you guys what the pond used to look like back then and how much mud was in it. It's very important when it comes to the manhole theory. Trust me, it's legit. And this is the infamous grainy footage. Now, what I did for you guys when I did this trip, because I've made multiple trips back and collected different parts of footage, and sometimes the same thing, just to have the documented changes as time goes on, because that's important as well. We can basically go back to different periods of time. So with this one, what I did is I had my Sony 4K on the front and I had my GoPro on the right side. So you can take, if you can screen share or whatever you do with your computer where it's got two tabs open, you can literally play each one of these, play on the left, play on the right, and it's like you're riding in the car. Or if you need to use it as a reference point too, you see something on the side, you want to see something that's forward view at the same timestamp, you can literally go to that video and click on that, and you got the front and the side view. So this is going to be the front view. This is the Sony 4K. This is the non-grainy footage here. That's the Sony 4K. And then this one is the infamous one. This is the side view. This will show you that there is no security cameras on the PF's home just a few weeks now. It was published to members April 17th, members first. But you got to understand, when I'm out there in the beginning, I was literally out there for weeks on end, no break. It takes a while to upload the footage. So when it comes to just because it says April 17th, I want to, help other people understand that too. Just because it says April 17th, it was published, doesn't mean that it was taken on the 17th. It just means that's when I was able to get that published for you all. All right. So there is one thing I do want to share real quick. At night, had a post on Twitter, and here's the link for that if you would like to have that for yourself. Rebecca, I'm in Nashville. Oh, I heard some snow's coming. Is that true? And thank you all for being in here. And double shout out to Mr. E. Thank you for all your hard work being a mod last night in the live stream. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Mr. E. Mr. and Mrs. E, beautiful people. Auntie as well in their community. Very beautiful people. All right. So it says, information, photos, and video sought, $500 to $5,000 reward in Hendersonville, Tennessee. We are seeking photographs or videos taken inside the Texas Roadhouse at 309 Indian Lake Boulevard, Hendersonville, Tennessee, on or around February 25th, 2024, between 5 p.m. and 11 p.m. What's up, Sunset Ticket 70? Thank you. What's up, JH? This was the location of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' last known meal, shared with a group that included his biological mother, Katie, on the night that he vanished. If you were there and have relevant photos or videos, your submission could help uncover critical details. A reward of $500 to $5,000 is being offered for qualifying materials. Email litigation@atnight.agency or call 844-922-3236. Please share this post to help spread the word. Every piece of information matters. Together we can make a difference. Find Sebastian, Public Assistance, Hendersonville, Tennessee, missing persons. And we hearted it and reposted it. So here's the link again. Please share it out there. If not, just go ahead and click on it, take a screenshot, and post it on whatever social platform as well. It's all, the attention is all the same, and that's what's important. Okay, so first, we're going to play the video of the new tip in the search for Sebastian Rogers. This was from yesterday. Then we're going to check out that court TV clip from 7 months ago. Again, it's very relevant. And if you were in the show last night and you heard all of the heart-wrenching stuff, because let's be honest, if it was you in Seth's position and Sebastian was your child and that's what was taking place to you, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I mean, me and the team were we were in chat supporting and we were talking in our team chat while the live was going on, and it was tough, you guys. It really was, wasn't it, Angels? It was tough. Just hear it and you're just like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know it was this bad. I didn't even know. So when you hear this court TV clip from 7 months ago, you're going to be like, whoa. It's crazy. All right, so this is the new tip in search for Sebastian Rogers.
We'll bring him home. 9 months later, Sebastian Rogers' father holds on to hope as he continues to search for his missing son. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 5. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. The reward for Sebastian has increased following new tips and a lead that led investigators to believe they had found the teen. News 2's Caitlin Quisenberry has more.
Never going to stop. You don't stop halfway between a goal, and try is just the first way of failing. We will find Sebastian. We will bring him home.
For the last 8 months, there has been no sign of Sumner County teen Sebastian Rogers. Several agencies, including law enforcement, have searched for Sebastian before pulling back to focus on the, quote, investigative side. In September, Doug the Bounty Hunter joined the search.
They're really quick to jump on every tip that is validated.
On Friday, Doug the Bounty Hunter received a tip.
We understand you reported seeing a boy matching Sebastian's description at the Motel 6 in Goodlettsville.
According to At Night Private Intelligence, on Monday, a team of licensed investigators and contractors acted on that tip after seeing a boy matching Sebastian's description walk into a motel room. At 4:47 that afternoon, investigators called 911. The Sumner County Sheriff's Department arrived on scene. The individual identified was found not to be Sebastian.
Unfortunately, it wasn't Sebastian, but with that kind of movement and that kind of force, we're going to find Sebastian.
Today, the reward for information on Sebastian Rogers' whereabouts increased again from $175,000 to $200,000. At Night reported the increase was due to an escalation in credible tips and possible relation to the presence of a transnational gang from Venezuela in Tennessee. In the meantime, Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, is clinging to hope.
Every day, I hope for the phone call that brings the lead in, that puts him back where I can just look at him and give him a hug. I mean, I miss my son.
With the holidays and Sebastian's 16th birthday around the corner, Seth tells me he does not want to miss any more moments without his son by his side.
I'm hoping with everything that's coming into play, everything that's being reported, that he'll be home before he turns 16.
Anyone with information can call Dog the Bounty Hunter's tip line, the Sumner County Sheriff's Office, the TBI, or your local FBI office. Those numbers are listed on our website at WKRN.com. Bob.
And when you see that interview right there, and then after you hear what you hear last night, and the I'm gonna be honest with you, to me it sounded like profiling from the freaking start. I mean, I'm just being honest. To me it sounded like I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Don't be mad. He was able to just walk in the door. No officers were like, "Hey, what are you doing? Where? Hey, who are you? Where? Hey." None of that. As soon as he walks in, the phone's shoved in his face. He was fine Saturday. The scene wasn't secured. Mr. E, it makes me wonder. This is what I was telling the team this last night when I heard it. I said, it's almost like somebody walked up to somebody and said, "Hey, come here for a second. I need to tell you something about that guy over there." Right? Is that, I mean, to me, it was like somebody, "Hey, come here, come over here for a second. I need to tell you something about that guy." So much stuff last night. What's up, Samantha? The talk about the jewelry. When this is like day 2. Did you lose it in a poker bet? Did you lose the poker bet and you got to buy some jewelry to make up for it? Is that what's up? All the crazy stuff we heard last night. And that's why I titled it "The Shock and Truth of Everything We Thought We Knew," because I didn't know that it was that bad. And when you hear his story, you put yourself there. I was a single father, full custody. Mom wasn't in the picture. Okay. The only time Mom was in the picture was when she was threatening me or my daughter's school or the local police department that she was gonna come kidnap my daughter. Had to have restraining orders for 6 years in a row because of what her mother was doing. So seriously, this isn't some dude sitting behind a desk that goes out on location and helps people. This is some dude that went through his own stuff right here. And when I'm sitting there and knowing and feeling everything that I felt, even though, I could never understand how he feels, but the thing that I can understand is living every day for over 6 years at a period in time, not knowing if my daughter was going to get kidnapped from her mother. So when I hear what he said last night and what was taking place and the way that he was being treated, I put myself there and I'm just like, for what? He couldn't even watch TV because he didn't have his PlayStation. Oh yeah, you can come pick up the PlayStation and you can come pick up the PlayStation and you can come pick up the Switch. What? He wasn't reported missing from Seth's house. He wasn't. He was reported missing from Katie's. What's up, Guidance? What's up, Avery? So check out this video. This is from 7 months ago. And listen to what he says right after what he said last night, and then we're going to get into last night's show. Again, thank you, Seth, for your strength. That had to take a tremendous amount of strength to be able to hold your composure. And then shout out to Tony and the lab for doing an amazing job holding it down. It was a really really great show last night. Very revealing.
It has been more than a month and still no sign of Sebastian Rogers. The 15-year-old disappeared in the middle of the night on February 25th. His mother was the last person to see him and says that he left the house without any shoes on and just a flashlight. So where is he? Searchers continue looking for Sebastian. And this morning, we have a very special guest joining us on the program, Sebastian Rogers' biological father, Seth Rogers. Seth, good morning to you. And might I just start by both saying thank you and just that my heart and the hearts of all of our wonderful viewers really go out to you. The agony that you're going through, I can't even imagine. I've seen you do some interviews, and I've been so amazed at how resilient you are. And you've talked about how nothing is going to make you give up hope. Tell us, please, where's that drive coming from?
My son. He's my life. He's my heart. He's not here, and I'm not complete unless I have him. So it's the drive to be whole again.
You know, I applaud you for holding out hope, being so resilient, being positive, and who knows what can happen with this investigation. And any day could be the day Sebastian comes home. From your perspective, Seth, how satisfied are you with the investigation being done by TBI?
My son's not here. They have no evidence. They haven't. Sumner County is the one that's like doing it. TBI is assisting. I've asked TBI to take it over. They haven't yet. There's just things that I don't think have been done.
What would you like to be done, Seth, that hasn't been?
Now, see the date, keep in mind, April 6th, okay? When you listen to what he was saying last night, he was talking February, y'all. February. And this is April 6th. And when you hear his response, he's trying to be the calm individual. Can you imagine? Now, again, what he said last night, February. This was April. And look at this response.
Biological father, Seth Rogers. Seth, good morning to you. And might I just start by both saying thank you and just that my heart and the hearts.
He's not sitting there going, they did this, and 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 this. Because he's trying to be like, look, I'm just trying to do whatever I can to find my son. How many of you would have been able to keep that composure after everything that he said last night that took place?
Of all of our wonderful viewers really go out to you. The agony that you're going through, I can't even imagine. I've seen you do some interviews, and I've been so amazed at how resilient you are. And you've talked about how nothing is going to make you give up hope. Tell us, please, where's that drive coming from?
My son. He's my life. He's my heart. He's not here, and I'm not complete unless I have him. So it's the drive to be whole again.
I applaud you for holding out hope, being so resilient, being positive, and who knows what can happen with this investigation, and any day could be the day Sebastian comes home. From your perspective, Seth, how satisfied are you with the investigation being done by TBI?
My son's not here. They have no evidence. They haven't. Sumner County is the one that's like doing it. TBI is assisting. I've asked TBI to take it over. They haven't yet. There's just things that I don't think have been done.
What would you like to be done, Seth, that hasn't been?
I have a list of stuff, but I don't know if they've done it or not. I mean, there's been questions that have been asked, and things that have been answered. It's really hard to have evidence if certain protocols aren't being followed.
Everything he said last night. How many of you would be able to keep this composure? Seriously.
I had to start back over from day one.
Going back to day one, so Sebastian goes to sleep the evening of February 25th. It's on the morning of the 26th that your ex-wife finds that he's not in his bedroom. She is the only one said to be home. And Sebastian could have vanished sometime in the hours from when she last saw him go to sleep and from the time she opened the door. There's a window there overnight. Your best guess, Seth, based on how well you know your son, what do you think happened to Sebastian?
He's not the type to put on, he's not the type to leave the house without putting on socks and shoes. As for running away or leaving, he didn't take his backpack. He didn't take his switch. He didn't take his phone. I mean, just doesn't make sense. And he's not one to wander. He's never eloped before.
Are you leaning towards a potential kidnapping?
Anything is speculation at this point in time, because there is no, as they have said, evidence that leads towards foul play. But there's things that just don't add up. His mother was the last one to see him. She's responsible for this, either through negligence at the bare minimum.
Has she been a good mother to Sebastian?
All right, we're going to pause it right there real quick. Now, he's saying, look, even when he was on our show, members only, it's on a members only, he was back on our show back in April. That was one of the questions I had. Would he go outside without shoes? No. He wouldn't go outside without slips on, is what he said. So when he's sitting there telling you, look, he's not the type to run away. He's not the type to go outside without socks or shoes on. So that means, was he running away from Katie? Do you think that he would run away? Like if something was happening, discipline or something, do you think he would run away from Katie? Would he run away because he didn't want to go to school? No. No. He was either taken or something happened. Not walked out of that door. When you listen to what he says, that's why after all of our searches, and when we were done in May, and we're standing there together going, and that's when I started going, he didn't walk out. We all were like, we would have found something by now. Something. Even the littlest thing. We would have found something by now if he really did walk out of this house. So when you listen to this, you see even these other teams haven't found anything. That goes along with what Seth is telling you. He didn't just walk out of the house. Either something happened in the house or he was removed from the house. I mean, when you're leaving the house, what thing do you need the most? Your shoes, because what part of your body is coming in contact with all of that terrain? The bottom of your feet. It just makes sense. What's up, Allison? What's up, everybody? Now, she just asked him. Here, let me rewind it so you can hear her question.
Has she been a good mother to Sebastian?
Not in my opinion.
Thank you,
This
everybody.
is the third time that's been an issue. You know, my son's come up missing now under her watch. Time before that, her and Chris let my son get molested and raped in their apartment. And the time before that, I did a well-care check because she let a known sex offender who, yes, did their 9 years in prison, but she left my son around that person. You don't do that. If you're a parent, you don't do that. You're supposed to protect your kid. You don't put them in where they can get in any type of harm's way.
Seth, you said something very upsetting, very shocking, and I just want to go back just a moment. You said that your wife allowed your son, Sebastian, your ex-wife, I should say, your ex-wife allowed Sebastian to be in a situation where he was molested and raped?
In California. And Chris in her apartment. They let a child who was 5 years older than my son play with my son and didn't bother to check on him there neither. And he lost his innocence because of it.
Seth, I'm so sorry to hear this. I'm so sorry to hear this. No child should be subjected to any kind of abuse whatsoever. Sexual abuse can be especially traumatic for a young child. Is this something that Sebastian has struggled with since then?
Yeah, finally was able to actually start getting him therapy for it last year. The fact is that they weren't doing the correct thing, clearing California. And it's just last year finally getting him help because he's a victim. And now I'm finding out not only was, he was a victim of that, he's a victim of not getting the help he needs. And, I've listened to some of their podcasts where they make fun of him, make fun of his dancing. Chris obviously has this thing about corporal discipline with him. And it's just, It's not good.
Seth, I'm so
I
sorry.
need to find my son,
Right.
and he's going to need extensive therapy now to put him back on the right track.
Yes. Was Sebastian the one who told you about the sexual abuse that had happened?
His mother did, and my son did. This happened in California, so Sheriff's Department, CPS was involved. Sheriff's Department was involved there. They wouldn't give me the kid's name, his last name. But at least the only thing I was able to do there was put the detective over that case in contact with the school psychologist so that at least they can protect the other children from this child.
Right. So no juvenile proceedings commenced or anything like that, Seth, with this child. He wasn't brought to juvenile court.
Mm-hmm. No, in California, kids 13, they're like, he's too young to prosecute. And they wouldn't do anything about the parents either.
Seth, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. My heart breaks for you for so many reasons, and this is just one more of those reasons. Tell me, please, Seth, what else do you want the public to know as people all over are hoping and praying for your son Sebastian's safe return?
That I'm just looking for him. I need people to help. I'm just one person. I can do a lot, but I can't do everything. I have to find him.
Absolutely. You have to find him. And we will continue doing everything we can here at Court TV to help you find him, putting his picture out there, video, talking about him, and hopefully he is somewhere where he can be brought home safe to you soon. Seth Rogers, thank you so much for this talk. Thank you for sharing all of those things. I know it's not easy. Every good wish as you hopefully bring Sebastian home safe soon.
Mm. It's tough hearing that. You see what I'm saying? I know I see a lot of you guys, you probably never even seen that clip based off of your reaction. That's why this morning when I was doing my prep for tonight's show, yeah, and please be respectful with the comments. This is a no toleration zone over here. We'll just boot your ass. We don't care. Because once you have an ugly soul, you're always going to have an ugly soul, and we ain't got time for those. We're too busy trying to help. But when you hear the stuff that we're gonna start to get into tonight, and man, that was tough to hear, wasn't it? It's tough to hear, but it's important. Because when you hear what he said last night, or if you didn't get to check it out, and you're here, for the first time, and you're gonna hear what he's telling you. This is why I wanted to start this episode off with that clip, because it's really important. When you hear what he just told you, which is true, it's true, and then you hear what he said last night, and you're just like, if you thought last night, if you didn't hear this clip before, and you already thought last night, oh my gosh, how could he have been treated that way? Now you listen to this clip, and you hear how he's been treated, and you're like, It's like quadruple. I can't believe he was treated this way. And look at him right here. This is why I kept the date up there the whole time. Because of all the stuff that he was explaining, all of the right from the start, it was like lock on to Seth. Lock on to Seth right from the start. And you're seeing this composure. You see all the BS that's going down when it comes to the right thing. And you see this composure. This episode right here is very important. If you want, here's the link for it. I know I dropped it already. Here's the link again. I think about it. It really makes a huge difference with what we're going to be listening to. All right, so we're going to get to this episode again. Here, let me share the link for the channel real quick.
Justin, we're permitted.
All right, let me share the link here. Here's the link for the episode, and let me share the channel too. Now, this was kind of a lengthy one, so we might get through the whole thing tonight. We might not. If we don't get through the whole thing tonight, we'll finish it up tomorrow night. If not, I'm not too sure. There's a lot of stuff you got. I literally have like 3 pages of notes of everything from last night. I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. It was really just all the stuff. There's so much, and you guys know what I'm talking about if you were there last night. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate that. Thank you, Rod, for the kind words. Thank you so much. And it is messed up, especially after you hear the way that he was treated already. All right, let me share the channel link as well. Go sub up. And let's see here.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Seth.
And it looks like we lost Tony.
I can see him. Well, there he is.
There he is. Lost you there for a moment, sir.
I'm back, buddy.
I'd like to thank everybody for joining me this evening. Thank you, Josh, Tony, Sebastian's Army, my mods, Mr. and Mrs. E, Aunt E. There's a lot of people out there. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Betty.
How's our audio, guys? Does everything sound okay? I think from what I'm seeing, it looks all right. Let's see here. The chat is still flying.
Is it still flying?
Yeah.
Do I need to slow it down to like 60 seconds?
I would try that. It's a great thing. You know, there's a lot of people, a lot of support. It's a very nice thing, but it is just, it's impossible to see, you know.
Yes, the chat was flying fast. Very fast.
Did it slow down?
It looks like it slowed down a little bit.
It was. I mean, hell, we were in there like an hour before it started, maybe 2 hours, hour and a half, somewhere around there, and it only had like
Is my
150,
green light strobing too much for people?
200 people, and then literally like a
Not
half
for
an
me.
hour before it started, it was just.
Did we get rid of our echo?
What's up, Miss Cosmo?
Echo's gone.
Okay.
I don't hear an echo.
Yeah, you know what, Seth? I don't know if you've closed that out or not. And I'm sorry, but 90 seconds might be the best. I mean, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Shame on you. You're supposed to be the expert at this, Josh.
Look, man, you can never tell the support that people put in the chat, man. These people are supportive.
It was flying. It was definitely flying. That's
it really is a beautiful thing, to be honest with you.
It's a lot of love.
I appreciate all of it.
I do too. I think it's amazing. And
we to echo what Seth said, we certainly appreciate, first off, Josh, we appreciate you being here with us tonight, buddy, as always.
Thank you for asking me and having me. I'm honored and appreciate it. And like I said, I'm honored to be here.
Want to say thank you to all of our moderators. We've got a bunch of them, as you can see. We'd like to hope and think that everything will be positive tonight, but
Samantha,
if not, then you guys know what to do there. More importantly, we want to thank the just overwhelming love, support, prayers that we continue to get. Seth continues to get. They are not unnoticed. We know them, we hear them, we see them, we feel them. Please continue praying. We've got a big date coming up. As everybody knows, Sebastian's 16th birthday is on December 7th. It's going to be an emotional day for all of us. Just continue to keep Seth in your prayers. Seth, brother, I don't know how you continue to stay strong like you do. I just, Josh and I were talking about it today. I mean, for you to show the strength you do, it's quite inspiring. So if everyone would please just take a moment of silence. Seth has got a prayer that he's going to read to everyone, and I'm quite certain there won't be a dry eye in the house when this is over.
We have a lot of missing children, and it's not just my child that's missing. We have a lot of children missing. More than 500,000 missing children in the United States alone. And this is prayer for missing children. Heavenly Father, we come before you with heavy hearts, lifting up all the children who are missing, stolen, or lost. Each one of them by name. You know their face, you know their fears, and you hear their silent cries. We ask for your divine protection over them. We ask you to guard them, guide them, and deliver them from harm. May your light pierce through the darkest corners where they may be hidden, and may your justice bring swift resolution to their plight. We pray for strength and comfort for their families who endure unimaginable pain and wait in hope. Grant them perseverance and surround them with love and support. Lord, we also cry out for justice. You are a righteous and holy God who sees all. We ask that those who cause suffering to these innocent children be held accountable, both in this life and the next. May their hearts be convicted of their evil and their deeds exposed to the world. And if they do not repent, may their punishments be a reflection of the pain they have inflicted, facing your eternal judgment. Lord God, we trust in your perfect will. Let the lost be found, let the broken be healed, and may justice prevail. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. That was beautiful, brother. Thank you for that. So what we're going to do tonight, guys, is a lot of you have been here from the very beginning. Josh, you have, the first 60 days, as most of you know, that I was involved in another case and was not here for those first 60 days. And We've been blessed with a lot of new followers in the case. A lot of people have been asking questions. You know, they don't know where to get real answers. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to start back on February 25th, and we're going to let Seth tell his story, his thoughts, his feelings, his frustrations, the things that have gone right, wrong, and somewhere in between. So what we want to do, Seth, first off is,
how much stuff was right? You know what I'm saying? Yikes. Oh my gosh. If you guys haven't heard this yet, get yourself some tissues, y'all.
February 25th, you go to work. You're at work at the Davidson County Sheriff's Office. Tell me about that night. Just normal night. Tell me about the night of work leading into the morning of February 26th.
I mean, I woke up, did my normal thing, got dressed, left. I arrived to the garage around 6 o'clock. Nobody really, unless you live here in Tennessee, you don't know the traffic on 24. And it's horrible.
Yeah,
you never know if somebody's going to have an accident or wreck, or if there's just going to be a slowdown.
Seriously, that's when you don't. You're using Google. I've been a victim plenty of times. It's telling you this long, and then all of a sudden, at the last second, another 25 minutes is added onto your trip, and then after that, another 15 minutes is added onto your trip. Potholes galore, accidents all over. It is a chaotic mess. I'm telling you right now. It is and I drive all over the place. I've been to a lot of places, and I'm telling you right now, it's the worst road / traffic you are going to experience. It is ridiculous.
And so work may start at 7 o'clock, but we're supposed to be there 15 to 20 minutes early in order to get all of our equipment issued to us. So being there at 6 o'clock is normally what I aim for every day so that I'm not late. Went in, got my equipment issued, told what pod I'd be going to, and it was just a normal, regular night for me. I didn't think it was going to be my last normal night.
So Josh, first off, you're a participant in this, and you're just as much engaged as we are. So anytime you want to cut in, brother, you don't need an invitation. Feel free to jump in.
God, thank you.
So we know that allegedly Sebastian went missing sometime from between, let's just say 7 o'clock that night to 6 o'clock the next morning. We do know that he was reported missing at 6 o'clock that morning, thereabouts. So what did that look like for you? Was there a 911 call made by Chris or Katie to Sumner County Sheriff's Department to notify you that there was an emergency with your son? I mean, how did that look?
Well, they never contacted my work. I got out of there about 7 o'clock, and I was talking to some new officers that had just graduated through the academy, and just having conversations, because when we get done, a lot of us officers were in the garage. We talk about how everything went so that we can just prepare for the next day, because most of us are coming back to work the next day. And down there just shooting the shit, not a care, like it's my day off. I'm off now, so there was no rush for me to get to my vehicle.
Damn.
Because nobody let me know anything while I was at work.
Damn.
And I spoke to other officers, and then I was like, hey, y'all have a good one. I'll see you, the next day we work. And I got in my truck about 7:20, and I saw that I had a missed phone call and a text message from Christopher Proudfoot saying, and 911, and that's when I turned around and I called, and that's when I found out my son was missing.
Man, can you imagine? You're doing typical after shift, you got the days off coming up, you're just kind of, like he said, shooting the shit, taking your time, hanging around for a little bit, relaxing. What's up, Lauren? Relaxing, you're just taking your time, and then all of a sudden you go out to your vehicle and you find out that your son is missing and has been missing already. Can you imagine the guilt already that had to have set in? Because if your work, if your work is contacted and it's like, hey, you got a call real quick, you're not going to be, man, right from the get-go, you guys. Right from the get-go. And then what's crazy is what's coming up next. Don't be mad. What? Huh? What?
So what was that conversation like when you finally got him on the phone? And do you happen to remember what time the text was versus the missed call? I mean, was that right at 6 o'clock? Was it at 7 something?
6:22.
Okay, so they went through the business of Katie calls Chris calls the sheriff, and then when all those calls were made, then they reach out to you for the first time.
The text was at 6:22. From my understanding, they called the sheriff's office.
That just said 911, you guys. A text message that just said 911 at 6:22. Just a text, 911.
From my understanding, they called the sheriff's office at like 6:33. So,
Seth, what was the first thing that Chris said to you on the phone? What was the very first thing he said?
At 6:33.
And at any point, did he ask you if you had seen Sebastian or heard from Sebastian?
He never asked me that sort of stuff. They knew I was at work, and they didn't bother to call my work. I was pretty much.
And you say they knew you were at work. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, they knew I was at work.
And I'm assuming that Josh or I or anybody else that really wanted to get an urgent message to you could call Sumner County Sheriff's Office and say we have. Okay.
They live in Sumner. I work in Davidson County.
Yeah, I mean, they could have called and said in Davidson County and said, hey, we got an urgent message for Mr. Rogers, right?
Yeah.
Had you ever gotten messages like that before, or ever gotten somebody called up there trying to get a hold of you, or no?
No, I haven't. There's never been any emergencies or anything. I've gone as far as on my refrigerator, and I had given Katie a copy of it, but I have a whole list of the number to call and then the extensions for every pod, including at that point in time would have been my lieutenant's office as well.
Wow.
I mean, there's
see, I missed that part last night because the chat was flying, y'all. I missed that part last night. On the fridge, there was a list of all the pods and departments and any of the numbers that could have been contacted. How would you feel if you have a child, with somebody and your child goes missing and they just send you a text and don't even bother to call your work? Yeah, there's a lot of sus. I apologize. My YouTube chat has already froze up 3 times. I don't know why we're having issues again for another night. But if the YouTube chat is acting weird for you, anything seems out of sorts, just back out. Make sure you close out, then come back in, and it should catch up and go up to date because I've had to do it multiple times already. So I apologize. I did miss that, though. On the fridge, a list of all the numbers and extensions.
There's every extension to get into dispatch, to get into the lieutenant's office, the sergeant's office. Every pod, there's an extension that you would have been able to, to get to.
So they really didn't even need to look for that. You gave it to her.
Wow.
Yeah.
On the fridge, y'all.
Chris said afterwards that they didn't have it. So
on the fridge. Said afterwards that they didn't have it. Whenever my daughter goes into a hospital, I always call her father. Even now that she's 21, I call her. Very sus. I wish it would show the custom emojis. Come on, StreamYard.
Okay, so you get the call. He says, "Don't be mad." What was your response to that?
You don't be mad, but Sebastian's missing and the cops are at our house. Like,
is that one of those things when you hear that Sebastian's missing, you go, well, he's got to be around there somewhere. They're going to find him, in 20, 30 minutes or something. Was that the feeling, or was it, was it more grim than that?
Him telling me that my son was missing. My son has never been an eloper. He's never been one to go missing. Never have I ever had the phone call ever that my son was missing.
You know what? Right. This is what it's like, you guys. This is like you have your screen door open, okay? You have your screen door open. The dog that you're sitting, your dog sitting, because you're not familiar with having, a pet or something. It slips out the front door and gets in, and it gets hurt. That's when you say, "Don't be mad." I didn't realize that they were going to slip out the door. Don't be mad. I didn't realize it. It's not. That's when you say, "Don't be mad." Wouldn't you say it, like, if you were really calling somebody? Wouldn't you say, like, "Are you sitting down?" Wouldn't you say something like, Okay, just please understand. This is what the situation is. Wouldn't you say, please try and remain calm as I get ready to tell you. Like, don't be mad. Don't be mad. Don't be mad.
Okay, so you get the call. He says, "Don't be mad." What was your response to that?
You don't be mad, but Sebastian's missing and the cops are at our house.
Don't be mad. Sebastian's missing and the cops are at his house. What would you be mad about? Like, if he listen, if he ran away, why would you be mad? Because somebody left the door unlocked? Did somebody passed out on the couch and somebody came through the back door because it was unlocked? I mean, just because, listen, a predator doesn't have to groom somebody to remove them from a house. A predator can literally be walking through the neighborhood, slightly touching doorknobs to see if any of them are unlocked. I mean, a predator doesn't have to already be grooming. They could be creeping through the backyards, tapping door handles to see which one's open or not. Did somebody, don't be mad because I left the door unlocked and fell asleep on the couch? Why would you be mad if you didn't do anything, right? Isn't that a legitimate question? Why would you be mad or worry about somebody being mad at you if you didn't do anything in the first place? It's like saying, no offense, but you're going to say something that offends somebody. No offense. Don't be mad. No offense. No offense, even though I'm going to say something that's going to offend you.
Like,
is that one of those things when you hear that Sebastian's missing, you go, well, he's got to be around there somewhere. They're going to find him, in 20-30 minutes or something. Was that the feeling, or was it was it more grim than that?
Him telling me that my son was missing. My son has never been an eloper. He's never been one to go missing. Never have I ever had the phone call ever that my son was missing.
So was it, I think what Josh was asking is, was it, like, we'll figure out where he's at, or was it that pit in your stomach that every parent has had when their child's missing for 5 or 10 minutes and they can't find him?
I've always known where Sebastian is. I've always known who he's with or where he's at. I mean, 7 o'clock rolls around. I know that he's getting on the bus or getting ready to. The school's picking him up. He's going to be at school. If it's on the weekends, I know he's with his mom. And it's never been one of those things on not knowing where he's at.
Right.
So me getting this call, and it was just like, I got to get over there. That was my only thought process, was to get to their house.
So how long was that conversation between you and Chris?
Probably between 50 seconds.
And then you said, I'm on my way.
Yeah, I was already in my truck, started it. As soon as I heard that shit, I was backing out of the thing and heading towards the entrance for the garage so I can get out.
So what does that look like then? You leave Davidson County, and where do you go then, and what do you do?
It took me like an hour to get there.
Straight there.
Straight there. I mean, it was just pedal to the metal and go.
Google will tell you 20 some minutes. So, yeah, you can Google it, but go to any of my road shows when we were going to the searches, or go to my live searches and we were leaving. You'll see the traffic, especially the on the road shows that we would have before I'd get there, because it's like a 3-hour drive. But literally, like, you'll see, like, it says 20 some minutes, but man, if you're driving there in real life, you better be prepared for 45 to 55, because again, all of that can, at a second's notice, all of a sudden, boom, you're just stop and go.
Morning traffic going straight over there. You know, I didn't get pulled over. I didn't see any cops or anything, and I didn't give a shit.
Were you continuously checking your phone just in case some?
No, I have a Bluetooth set up in my truck, so if it rang, it would automatically answer. If I get a text message, it notifies me, and I'll read the text message out loud.
And no phone call on the way there.
No, they didn't.
So the one thing I'm not hearing through this is, obviously you didn't have Sebastian with Chris, you had him with Katie. So there was no conversation with Katie before you got to the house?
None at all.
Okay, so go ahead.
Not at all. Not at all. What's up, Mama K? Not at all. We'll play that one more time. This is from the start. From the start. And you sit there and you see the clip that we played before we started watching this. My Lord.
One thing I'm not hearing through this is, obviously you didn't have Sebastian with Chris, you had him with Katie. So there was no conversation with Katie before you got to the house?
None at all.
Ain't that crazy? Right?
Okay, so go ahead.
So I get there. When I pull in, I literally go all the way up and turn around and come back, because there was no parking in front of that house. There was.
So like when we've been there, we drive up, then there's that turnaround at the top of the hill, top of the cul-de-sac hill. You turn and then you come back down.
There were police cruisers, SUVs. There was the truck that had the drones. They already had drones out flying, looking, and there was the vehicle with the dogs.
And again, this is the non-grainy video version of the video that we used to debunk the security cameras yesterday. This is the actual GoPro video link. It's the non-grainy version. When I'm out here on the road, I don't always have the best internet connection, so it might appear grainy on the live stream when we were discussing it, but with the screenshots, there's no grainy to it. And this is the link. So the non-grainy version, enjoy the GoPro 5.3K clarity.
They were already there when I got there. I pulled in. I took a moment to look and see who all was there. That's how I know, and then I proceeded to watch what they were doing for about 5 or 10 minutes. Was watching sheriffs and everybody go in and out of the house. It kind of surprised me that they didn't have the house on lockdown. Child's missing. You would think that they would have cordoned off the area, not have people walking through the yard, walking everywhere, destroying any type of evidence or covering up any type of smell or anything else. I mean, we got drones and we got dogs, but you also got officers just walking everywhere, willy-nilly, not paying attention. I saw some of them that were going around the windows on the outside. There was some in the back of the house, where the backyard, walking around the fenced-in area.
Were you able to walk right into the home?
Willy-nilly. He showed up and they were willy-nilly. Didn't seem like it was being taken seriously. Can you imagine? You know what I'm saying? You show up and you're like, you just show up and wouldn't you be like, come on, let's go? Willy-nilly. You're driving there. It's almost an hour away and you don't get a phone call from mom? An hour. It took an hour to get from his work to the house, and not even a 5-minute phone call. And then you get there and it's willy-nilly. It's sad.
For the backyard, walking around the fenced-in area.
Were you able to walk right into the home?
Yeah.
Nobody questioned you?
No.
Nobody asked who you were?
No.
You walked past police officers?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Wow. So when you walk in, you said you left work at what time?
7:22.
So about an hour. So let's just say you arrive at 8:30 or so, correct?
Yeah.
Who's there that you recognize outside of law enforcement?
Sarah, Katie was there. Katie was there. Trying to remember. It's just, as soon as I walked in, like I remember walking up to the stairs, nobody saying anything. I opened the door, I walked in. The first thing I looked down at the left, and there was Sebastian's shoes. There was his old pair of tennis shoes, his new pair of tennis shoes that he just got, and the boots that I had just bought him. And it's like, well, all of his shoes are here. There's, and I walk in, and Katie's right there in my face. Like, as soon as you walk in to the hallway, because you walk through the door, and then there's the dining room table is here, and then there's the carpet in the living room, and there's like a divider wall right here, corner. And I walked around, and she was shoving her phone in my face, showing me the picture that is on the Amber Alert. And she was like, look, he was having a good day. And it's like, it was a picture taken on Saturday, I find out later. I mean, at that point in time, I was just like, why are you shoving a picture of my son in my face? I know what my son looks like. And the picture doesn't say shit.
Mhm.
It was just a photo. No, nothing, no border, no.
Just like wanting to shove it in my face and like, he was having a good day. Well, picture shows that he was smiling, so yeah.
Right? Shoved the camera in the face. See, he was just fine. He was just fine. He was just fine. Don't be mad. Don't be mad. From the start. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. That's traumatic right there. I mean, right, Synergy? That's traumatic right there. Something's up.
It was just a photo. No, nothing, no border, no.
Just like wanting to shove it in my face and like, he was having a good day. Well, picture shows that he was smiling, so yeah, he was happy at that moment. I didn't understand the point of it.
Was she being questioned by law enforcement at the time, or were they just, because from what I understand about, if law enforcement believes that a child is a runaway, specifically an autistic child, a lot of the times they want the mother or father, somebody that's recognizable to the child, their voice out there asking for them. I find it odd that they weren't doing that, because if Sebastian was running away and you would have this mob of people looking for him, it would possibly scare him. And so was she preoccupied with something else, or was she sitting there, or was she talking to law enforcement?
There was a lot of detectives already in the house. A lot of them, well, one of them was sitting at the dining room table. There was 2 or 3 of them in his room, and there was a couple of them in the living room. Katie was showing that stuff to me in my face, and I was just trying to figure out why she was doing that. And that's when I was like, why is his shoes over here? If he ran away, wouldn't he have shoes on? And I mean, it was just.
And what was her response to that?
She didn't respond to that at all. Neither did law enforcement.
So when you saw Katie, I'm assuming that Chris was there, correct?
No.
Okay, he hadn't made it there yet. Was Kathy there?
I want to say yes, she was.
Okay.
I mean,
anybody else that was family of theirs or extended family?
No.
Okay. So what was, I know you talked about what Katie did, but was she a typical panicking mother? Was she losing her mind? I mean, what was her state of mind?
I didn't notice anything really about her state of mind. At the very beginning, I was trying to figure out what was going on in this house for my son not to be there. So,
was she screaming? Was she crying? Anything like that?
Do what?
Was she screaming or crying or?
No. The next thing that I remember about her, because I went into Sebastian's room and to see what was, see what the room looked like. And I remember going into his room. His switch was plugged in on the floor. his bedspread and his bed was not made. And there were some clothes on the floor. And that was about it.
So you were able to walk into Sebastian's room?
Yeah. I mean, nothing about this showed any type of procedurals being done at all. I mean, it was just pretty much open. People were just walking around.
Winging it.
They weren't. There was no scene to be. What's the word I'm looking for? It was chaos in that house. Cops weren't acting like anything. And Katie kept saying that he ran away, and it's like.
So Josh, you do a lot of work with Chris McDonough from multiple things, but from the Cold Case Foundation most famously.
Not even hysterical. Not even hysterical. Oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. Yeah, like there was no urgency to find him. He says, to Tony, no, there's nothing stood out to me. It was just business as usual. If nothing's sticking out to you, just business as usual. Showed you a picture from Saturday. Business as usual.
So they're not looking at that. You tell me this. This is more of a question. They're not looking at that as necessarily as a crime scene in that situation. But one thing that we do know is that it is a scene. Correct?
Yeah. So basically, it sounds like what they showed up to was that they're under the assumption that he's an autistic child who has ran away. Happens a lot, and typically children are found pretty fast. That do run away. Relatively fast, at least. Sometimes week or less, but yeah, it to me it seems like they didn't feel as though there was a crime. But I mean, it is completely odd that a child goes missing and that people are in and out of the house.
Right.
You could walk into a child's room, nobody checking on who is who.
Because without them knowing, they could speculate. Clearly, they speculated he was a runaway.
Yeah.
But without them knowing, it's also fair to speculate that it could turn into a crime scene.
Yeah, but the problem with this stuff is you got to understand this isn't like Chicago or New York or
yeah. They're not. But well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say that it's not like this stuff doesn't go on there, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in Hendersonville. Let's just be honest. He's right. It's not Chicago. It's not New York. It's not LA. They're not used to these on a routine basis because of the population. So a lot of the times, these small communities, how do I put this? They take on the notoriety, but they don't have the experience. And so things get effed up. But this isn't Mayberry either. This is Hendersonville, Tennessee. There's already been this stuff going on before, and there continues to be weird, odd stuff after. So to say that there's not that much experience, I don't know. It's not Mayberry, but it isn't Chicago either. So it's in between
or something like that. A lot of these small county sheriff's offices have never really, they've dealt with runaways and things like that, but
no experience
when it comes to like this large of scale and this search that they went through. They're not always equipped for that stuff, and they're not experienced at it a lot of the time.
Right.
I would imagine that this case, it was probably something that the sheriff's department,
and that's where your don't fund the police dollars didn't go to, was training and exercises that would have given people a little bit more experience than not. That's where the don't fund the police dollars didn't go, was to training.
Has never seen, anything quite like Sebastian's case. And, if you go into a bigger city, unfortunately, they are more equipped and have deal with this stuff a bit more. And not saying that they're just, they have more resources, they have more experience. But it does sound like Sumner County did eventually call in for help, but the initial stages of an investigation of a child going missing, I mean, each hour is
crucial.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, on the outside chance that it would turn into something else, I mean, we got people running in and out of the house and in and out of the bedroom. I mean, at that point, it's
contaminated. Yeah, right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Question about it.
Right from the get-go, contaminated right from the get-go. It's just, you guys think about it, it's just like the case that we're working on out here in Myrtle Beach right now. Amber Burbilia. Law enforcement says on the dash cam, 12 minutes after being on the scene, that they contaminated the scene. It's just like the same case we're covering out here in Myrtle Beach right now. And you know what's crazy about Amber Burbilia's case? Is it's just like Sebastian's when it comes to no answers. No answers, no information, no direction. Suspicious individuals. Isn't it, Jill? Think about it. It's just like Amber Burbilia's. Isn't it kind of funny? Contamination from certain individuals in the very beginning of when everything goes down, and all of a sudden we don't have any answers and we're not pressing. Very interesting.
So how long does this go on, Seth? I mean, is it 2 or 3 hours of just people running around the house like crazy people, or what's going on?
Me personally, I'm losing my mind. My son's missing, and I see nothing going on. I don't know how long they've been searching. I don't know when, they were initially contacted. I saw that nothing was going on in the house. I left. I turned around, got in my truck, and started driving everywhere with my window down, screaming for my son. If he ran away, I don't know how long he's been gone. They didn't tell me when they thought that he had gone missing. I didn't have any type of time frame. No, nothing. I just started driving around. Like, I took a road until until 2 or 3 miles had gone down the road, and I was turning around and road would show up. I'd make a left on it. I found out at one point in time I was at the very top, the highest point in Sumner County, because I was speaking to a gentleman that lived in a house, and he was like, "Who you looking for?" Because I saw him in the yard, and I was like, "Hey, have you guys seen child about 5'5", sandy blonde hair, white kid, skinny, very, anywhere?" And they were like, "You're talking about the missing child?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Everybody in the community seemed to already know about it. I mean, they had the reaction from Sumner County when it came to asking people to come help. Other law enforcement agencies, they had a lot that they asked to come help. I mean, Wilson County, Williams County. I mean, there was people.
It felt like it was all hands on deck pretty quick, right?
It was, until later on when I started thinking about it.
So how did they Josh asked you if they
Whoa. It was until I started to think about it. Hold on 1 second. Contribution call out. Let me throw up this screen here real quick. Contribution call out to, and I apologize, Beach Bell. I just noticed this from the beginning of the show before the live started with the 1999 super chat. CJ and the best team ever. Thank you for all your hard work. Love and appreciate you. We love and appreciate you too, Beach Bell. Thank you so much for the support. Without you, I wouldn't be able to really be out there doing this work. And so it's without you, I'm nothing. And Margie T, thank you for becoming a member as well, for your membership. Plenty of members only videos. We just dropped a couple on the Amber Burbilia case, but there's a lot of them, and there's that membership link. So literally you can just click on that membership link a few messages up, just scroll up a little bit, and that's the playlist link, and that gives you all of the membership videos. So you can go from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Jennifer P. Holy crap, it's been 7 months already? Dang, that's crazy. Holy crap, time is flying, right? Thank you so much for your continued membership. And Mrs. Lori Smith, thank you for becoming a member as well. And look at this, we got F around and find out with Samantha Joy in the badass hat. CJ and team is the best in the game. Thank you so much for your continued support as well with the 7 months. Thank you so much, Samantha. It means everything. Now, this is crazy. And he says he did think that, but then he kind of changed his mind. I got to hear that again. I wish he would have been able to kind of extend into that.
Road would show up. I'd make a left on it.
Thank you so much,
everybody. I found out at one point in time I was at the very top, the highest point in Sumner County, because I was speaking to a gentleman that lived in a house, and he was like, "Who you looking for?" Because I saw him in the yard, and I was like, "Hey, have you guys seen child about 5'5", sandy blonde hair, white kid, skinny, very, anywhere. And they were like, "You're talking about the missing child?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Everybody in the community seemed to already know about it.
Yeah, because
I mean,
that
they had
Facebook group. That Facebook
the
group.
reaction from Sumner County when it came to asking people to come help other law enforcement agencies. They had a lot that they asked to come help. I mean, Wilson County, Williams County. I mean, there was people.
It felt like it was all hands on deck pretty quick, right?
It was, until later on when I start thinking about it.
Felt like it was all hands on deck, and it was until later on, and I started to think about it. So does that mean that they were putting on a show? They were putting on a front? See, I wish he would have elaborated, because that right there.
I mean, Wilson County, Williams County. I mean, there was people.
It felt like it was all hands on deck pretty quick, right?
It was, until later on when I start thinking about it.
So how did they Josh asked you if they just let you walk through the house, nobody asked you who you were, let you walk into his room. Did you have any interaction with law enforcement? And if so, how did they treat you?
Well, I was still in uniform, which is probably why they didn't ask me who I was. And Katie probably told them who I was after I came inside. I mean, obviously, her coming up to me and shoving her phone in my face, kind of, obviously she knows me. And obviously, with her statement, look, he was happy, I still don't understand why it matters if he was happy or not. I mean, to sit there and make that point to me, like, I don't get that. He's missing. Doesn't matter if he was happy on Saturday or Friday or Sunday. The fact is he's missing. And
was it normal, backing up before we move forward, was it normal for, she made a point of saying in several interviews that she took him to do all of his favorite things, all the way from breakfast through activities, through visiting family members, through his favorite place for dinner. Was that a normal situation? I mean, was it, or would they normally, maybe she'd take him to a place he liked to eat, but not just load him up on all of his favorite things? I mean,
I know I wouldn't. And for all the stuff that she was supposedly doing with him, that's a lot for him. I mean, that's a lot. I have a video and pictures of him at the bowling alley. And I've got a picture of him. He is not happy. I mean, his hands are in his pockets. His shoulders are slumped forward. I mean, he just looks like a teenager that's being drugged to Chuck E. Cheese's.
On Saturday?
On Sunday.
On Sunday. Okay.
because they were at the bowling alley before they went to the restaurant they went to go eat was it Texas Roadhouse.
Did his mood, like, you know, a lot of people, including myself, you know, up and down? I mean, could he, you know, have a rough hour or so and then be fine the next?
Well, I've noticed that before with me. I mean, unless he's mad at you. If he's mad at you, good luck.
Yeah.
You know, if he's mad at you, he you know, he's a teenager.
Yeah.
You know, his whole thing about being mad is he's going to try to stay mad at you as long as possible, and you know, doesn't really last long at my house. But he's normally not mad at me at my house. You know, things are a lot laxed here. A lot of people have given me grief over the fact that I let him do things here that he's not allowed to do at his mom's house, but this ain't his mom's house.
Which is absolutely normal for any family splitting custody of any kind. You know, some things fly at mom's house, some things fly at dad's house. I mean, that's completely normal, and people are overly critical of that because, you know, I mean, they can be, I guess.
Well, I think, Josh, you and I talked about it on your show one night. I mean, people made a big deal about Seth allowing him to have access to a phone. And in the world we live in today, I mean, you know, these 15-year-old kids that roll into my house have $1,500 phones, and you don't see one of these kids without a phone. I mean, to me, it's more odd they wouldn't have a phone.
Correct.
You know, he was, speaking of phones, he was so locked down on that phone that he would, when he came to my house, he would literally plug it in and leave it in the kitchen because that phone couldn't do anything. I mean, at one point in time, I remember asking Chris and Katie, listen, I know you got his phone locked down, but can you at least put it so he can use the calculator?
Isn't that crazy? When I heard this last night, couldn't even use the calculator? Couldn't even use the calculator. What's wrong with the calculator? That the phone was on lockdown. So you know what that means? Excuse me. The phone was on lockdown. You know what it means when you can't use your calculator? It means that your phone is locked. Because what phone setting is on your phone that closes access to your calculator? There is no setting on your phone that closes access to a calculator. So that's telling you that his phone was answer the phone if we call only kind of phone, because here, you have the phone, you better answer it if we call. We're not giving you the password. That's crazy. They have that thing locked down so much. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine how much trouble he probably was in if he didn't answer the phone call if they called? Can you imagine that?
Because that phone couldn't do anything. I I mean, at one point in time, I remember asking Chris and Katie, listen, I know you got his phone locked down, but can you at least put it so he can use the calculator? You know, if he's
Wow.
doing math or he's doing something, or I need him to
Wow.
make a list for me. I mean, there's got to
Wow.
be something that you can do.
Ain't that nuts?
And it's like, so
Wow.
they put it so you could use the calculator and stuff on there. I mean,
Wow. That's nuts.
Did they ever tell you what they thought the danger of him having the internet was?
they didn't want him to have access. I mean, at one point in time, you know, it was locked down, so he couldn't play video games on there. And then Katie had complained, and Chris had complained a couple times that instead of going to sleep at night, he'd be up watching YouTube videos.
Okay.
You know, and it's like, well, it's simple. Put a timer on it. When it's bedtime, no more internet access.
Or when it's bedtime, put it on the charger out in the living room or the kitchen. I mean, it's that simple. If it's bedtime, or bring it into your bedroom. Bring the phone with you into your bedroom and charge it. Come on.
I mean,
so at some point, Seth, you quit driving around and you ended up back at the house with Katie, with Chris, with Kathy.
Chris wasn't there when I came back.
Okay. So he still wasn't there yet, but you got back and clearly Katie was there, Kathy was there.
I came back, I turned around and I spoke to one of the detectives. I was like, has there been any word, anything yet? You know, walked in. I don't feel comfortable around my ex-wife and her family. I mean, I really don't. I mean, they're not, she's my ex. I don't feel comfortable around her. I mean, I have my reasons for not feeling comfortable around her. She drugged me through the dirt and did a lot of dirty, underhanded stuff, in my opinion. And I'm not there to hang out. You know, I'd come back, speak to the detective, any word, anything. No, okay, turn around, and I would leave again to go search more. You know, I don't have the patience to sit. My son is missing. I'm supposed to protect him. I'm supposed to find him. He is missing. My goal is to find him.
So when you come back there and you have a little bit of interaction with law enforcement, you know, how were they treating you? How were they treating Katie? Was it about the same? Were they showing her respect for being the mom, you respect for being the dad? I mean, what did that look like?
I was a ghost on the wall, a fly maybe. I mean, come in, ask them if there was any news, get a no. And that's about all they wanted to really talk to me about on the first day. They were like, you need to stay around so that we can get a hold of you. And it's like, well, you can get a hold of me. I got a phone. Call me. I am going to go look for my son. Well,
we need you to stay around. See, before you hear the rest of this, what he just said, it doesn't stand out right there. But when you hear what he said already, and you hear this was the first day. Don't go anywhere in case we need to get a hold of you. We need to keep you in our sights. That's why I feel, like I said a little bit ago, in the very beginning, somebody went and said, hey, come here for a second. I need to tell you about this guy. So when you listen to this statement again, you can get a hold of me. I got my phone. I need to go search. You need to stay around here. Don't go anywhere. From the beginning.
Back to speak to the detective, any word, anything, no, okay, turn around, and I would leave again to go search more. You know, I don't have the patience to sit. My son is missing.
What did they do? Did law enforcement think that he kept going back to check on Sebastian when he, quote, had somebody help grab him? Did they think that he was going back to the scene of the crime? I bet you they had people tailing his ass. You want to bet? I bet you they had people tailing him. Let us know, Jimmy, if he does something scandalous. Let us know, Jimmy, if he keeps going to the same spot in the woods. We'll tackle him down. We'll apprehend him, Jimmy. Let us know. That's like what that's right? What the hell?
Missing. I'm supposed to protect him. I'm supposed to find him. He is missing. My goal is to find him.
So when you come back there and you have a little bit of interaction with law enforcement, you know, how were they treating you? How were they treating Katie? Was it about the same? Were they showing her respect for being the mom, you respect for being the dad? I mean, what did that look like?
I was a ghost on the wall, a fly maybe.
A ghost on the wall.
Come in, ask them if there was any news, get a no. And that's about all they wanted to really talk to me about on the first day. They were like, you need to stay around so that we can get a hold of you. It's like, well, you can get a hold of me. I got a phone. Call me. I am going to go look for my son. Well, make sure that you don't get out and go traipsing through the woods, because the last thing we want to do is you go missing, and now we're looking for both your son and you because something happened to you while you're out there. And I'm like, well, of course not. I'm staying in my vehicle, my window's down. I'm not going to be walking through the woods or anything. That's y'all's job. Y'all are going to be going through the woods. You're all going to be taking the dogs, and you guys got the drones out and stuff like that. You know, I'm just looking for him, screaming his name, you know, driving around, looking everywhere, looking to see if he's underneath bridges. If
don't go anywhere.
In a culvert, you know, wherever I see. I don't know this area, so I'm looking everywhere.
So you get back at some point, and when you get back, you go out, you search a little bit, you're screaming for your son again. It's almost become like a routine. You go out for a little while, you search, you come back, check in. At some point you got back there and Chris was there, correct?
Chris was there. And Chris was there. And now the detectives wanted to talk to me, and they're like, hey, what direction do you go when you go home? And I was like, well, I have either take 24. And if I take 24, I take Long Hollow Pike down to, what is it? It's, I told him I take it all the way down to 41, make a left, take it over, make a right at the Sonic. And then I take that road all the way to 24. So I bypass 65 and all the traffic. And they were like, okay. I said, if I take 41, I take Long Hollow all the way down to 41. Instead of making a left, I'll make a right. And I take it all the way up, and it will take me on the other side of exit 1. It's a long way, but when there's a backup on 24, it's not that much longer. It's an extra 10 minutes.
Yeah, and they probably said, Jimmy, it's okay about him not going to the same spot 2 times in a row. He just told us too much about his route home. Like, that's horrible. Profiled from the get-go. And yet nobody wanted to follow somebody 3.5, 4 hours away to go get a camper. We ain't worried about anybody following that. But this guy, who pulled Ellie aside and said, I want to tell you something about this guy? Who did that?
And then it was like, there's times that me and Sebastian will drive through the country. We'll make a left off of 41, and we just take the back roads to get home. So those are the two major ones, 41 or 24. I spoke to him. I was like, hey, if he did run away, then he's probably trying to make it to my house. Is there any way we can pull footage from here to 24 and footage on 24 all the way up to exit 1, or footage on 41 all the way up to 40, and I was told that, do you know how long that would take? That would take forever.
Wow. And they know this.
So you walk in and you see Chris. Does he run up and give you a hug and say, I'm so sorry, brother, we're going to work together and we're going to find our son? Or how does that look?
Chris showed up, and I really didn't have much of an interaction with him at the very beginning when he showed up, because law enforcement at that point in time, I've been there, I want to say it's like 1:30, and the detective in the case turns around and asks me, he's talking to me about what direction I do to go home. And then they're like, can we come to your house? And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. I've already called up here to my friends, my neighbors. I've already communicated with them. I've already communicated with other people to come to my house, to put a note on my door for Sebastian if he comes. I've already spoken to my neighbors. They're, have you seen him? Is he anywhere? Nobody has seen him or anything, but they're now aware in case he shows up. So I turn around. I was like, sure. I took 24. They followed me all the way up here to my house. And then they come in. They go through my house. They trash my son's room. They stripped the sheets off of his bed.
Like he's Brian Koberger in the Idaho 4 case. This was one of the most alarming things that I heard him say. Out of all the stuff that we heard and that we're going to hear, this was the biggest shock. Was they went in and ripped his room apart like he was a serial unaliver. Ripped his sheets off like he's a fugitive. I couldn't believe I heard this. Like I said, it's why I titled it The Shock and Truth of Everything We Thought We Knew. We thought we knew, but we didn't know all of this. And man, if my kid's missing and you come in and That was, oh my gosh. If my kid went missing and you just disturbed the last time that they moved their covers, I swear. You're disrespecting the you're disrespecting. And that's a child. That isn't like a spouse. That's not a, that's your child. And somebody comes in and rips the damn shit. Boy.
Or anything, but they're now aware in case he shows up. So I turn around. I was like, sure. I took 24. They followed me all the way up here to my house. And then they come in. They go through my house. They trash my son's room. They literally, they strip the sheets off of his bed. They flip his bed over. They've taken everything off. Like,
flip his bed over.
Hiding in between the sheets and the mattress.
Flipped his bed
there's no
over.
reason for some of what you're doing.
Like he's a frickin' escaped convict hiding under a bed. Who the F does that? Who the F does that? Not only you rip the sheets off, you flip the damn bed over? Like I said, this was one of the most shocking things that I heard, and I was like, are you what? Just hearing it, just picturing it in your mind, and that's your missing child's bed, man. That's the last time that he probably made it. That Sebastian probably made that bed. And all of a sudden people come, ooh.
Have you seen him? Is he anywhere? Nobody has seen him or anything, but they're now aware in case he shows up. So I turn around. I was like, sure. I took 24. They followed me all the way up here to my house. And then they come in. They go through my house. They trash my son's room. They strip the sheets off of his bed.
This is nuts.
They flip his bed over. They've taken everything off. Like, he's not hiding in between the sheets and the mattress.
Like you're watching an episode of Cops. Bad boys, what you gonna do? Like a Cops episode. Going in to bust some drunk husband with a domestic situation, and he's hiding under the bed or something. I mean, what the hell?
There's no reason for some of what you're doing. And his room is a complete total mess. Everything is on the floor. And they're like, hey, can we go ahead and can we take your electronics to look through them? And I'm
my gosh.
Well, yeah. Sure. It's like, I don't have anything to hide. So they turn around, they take my PlayStation 4. They turn around and they take Sebastian's PlayStation out of his room. And then they turn around, they see a tablet that my mom got him for Christmas back in 2020. And literally I grabbed the charger so they could charge it. But I was like, he hasn't been on that in years. And they plug it in and they turn it on and they're like, oh, this hasn't been used since 2021. And I'm like, well, I already told you. He's not ever on it. You know, he's more on my PlayStation than anything else.
So
2021.
Seth, at what point in time was that they showed up to your house?
2021.
It took like an hour and 15, an hour and 20 minutes to get from Katie's house to my house. So we're there.
And they followed him.
2:30. We're here.
That afternoon.
And they followed
that
him.
afternoon.
So did they ask you to go back to your house with them?
They asked me. Yeah, they asked if they could go back. They asked if they could come to my house and search my house.
So they're walking in and out of Chris and Katie's house, and this is where I'm a little confused. They're walking in and out of Chris and Katie's house. They're not ransacking it. They're not tearing anything up. They're not going crazy, correct?
They didn't even take their electronics.
So then they come to your house.
Ain't that crazy too?
And complete.
Didn't even take their electronics, but they took his. Told him not to leave when he was first there. Followed him on his way back. And then when he got back, they said, don't go anywhere. Couldn't control the scene around the neighborhood, but you could control the scene at Dad's house.
Completely different MO.
Yes.
What do you make of that, Josh?
I mean, unless they thought that he had made his way there in the middle of the night somehow. I mean, if it takes an hour and 15 minutes to drive there in the middle of the night barefoot, would probably, I mean, he, you know, I don't know, unless they suspected something, but I don't, when you told them, did you tell them specifically, did you say to them, I have nothing to hide?
Yeah.
And what was their response to that?
Okay.
And that was it.
That was it.
And so they were just asking your permission. Can we search your house? Can we take this without warrants and stuff? And obviously you agreed to everything,
Yes.
and received most of that stuff back. I believe, but
in time.
Here's the thing that it's like they left Sebastian's PS4 in his room. They never once took it. Oh, let me rephrase that. They took the electronics out of my house. They didn't take Sebastian's laptop. That's still on my kitchen table.
Still on the kitchen table. Another part of this interview that shocked me as well. It really shocked me about flipping over his bed and ripping Sebastian's sheets off. The next thing that really shocked me was this right here. The laptop is still sitting on the kitchen table. What's going to hold the most information, you guys, when it comes to a cell phone, a computer, and a video game system? What's going to hold more information? What's going to have more accesses for predators? A laptop. So you're going to tell me that one of the most important things when it comes to information and all the different kinds of information is a laptop, and you're not worried about that? Even if it wasn't Sebastian's laptop, don't you think that's still a key part of what could possibly be an answer to what took place? Even if it's not Sebastian's. This is crazy. Shocking story. If you're just joined, and make sure you check out the clip that we went through from Court TV from 7 months ago. It's the strength that it took. Shout out to Seth, the lab, and Tony. Very revealing night last night when it comes to everything we thought we knew and what we learned after. It's a lot worse than I could have ever even thought.
And received most of that stuff back, I believe, but
in time.
Here's the thing, that it's like they left Sebastian's PS4 in his room. They never once took it. Oh, let me rephrase that. They took the electronics out of my house. They didn't take Sebastian's laptop. That's still on my kitchen table.
Never?
Never. They never took his laptop. Still on my kitchen table.
That's crazy.
Right where he left it. I want things to still be where he left them.
Deep breath, buddy.
They came into his room. They took his PlayStation. They took his Switch. They took the tablet that he never even used. He used the laptop more than he used that tablet.
Isn't that crazy?
And yet they left the laptop on the kitchen table.
He used the laptop more than anything. Oh. How do you not take it? And shame on them. Because if he was groomed or lured from a predator that got access through his laptop, and you didn't do the proper investigation, and you could be potentially allowing this predator to do this and maybe have done this already to another effing child. Oh my gosh. What if there's another kid What the F? What the hell? How do you not take the laptop? Plausible deniability, right, ladies and gentlemen? Plausible deniability. If I don't collect it, then I didn't come across anything, right? That's what it sounds like to me.
They came into his room, they took his PlayStation, they took his Switch, they took the tablet that he never even used. He used the laptop more than he used that tablet. And yet they left the laptop on the kitchen table. They took my PlayStation.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
They wanted nothing to do with my laptop.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, it's just like the things that they took. And like literally 2 weeks went by and I'm like, am I going to get this stuff back? You said that you guys would only have it for a couple days. I don't know about other people, but I use my PlayStation if I'm watching TV. All my streaming services run through my PlayStation. I have a smart TV, but it's an old smart TV. Like Netflix doesn't even work on it anymore. I got that notification probably like 5 years ago.
Yeah, no, that's pretty standard to use your console for that stuff.
Right.
So it's like you took all this stuff, but you didn't take anything out of his room at his mom's house. The Switch was still on the floor when I was there. The PlayStation was still there. You know, the next day, that's when they took our phones. And then they complained about the fact that Chris gave them a phone, Katie gave them a phone, I gave them my only working phone. The other phone that I had no service, just Wi-Fi connection. And I use it so that I can listen to music while I sleep. Because that's just what I do for background. And then they turn around, they had my phone for almost 12 hours to download it. I use my phone for everything, you know. It's not.
They weren't interested in the video games at the PFs. They weren't interested in the laptop. They were interested in Seth's PlayStation and Seth's phone. What the hell took place in the very beginning? What the hell took place in the very beginning for them to zero in on Seth? They just wanted his PlayStation and his phone. They came in his house and flipped around Sebastian's bed like he was an escaped convict hiding under his mattress. They didn't tell CP or KP to stay put. They told Seth to stay put, not only when he was first there, but then also made sure to follow him on an hour drive. And then also tell him to not go anywhere after they searched the house. What? It's gotta be Ashley. What was it in the very beginning? Because look, it's like I've been saying, it sounded to me like somebody went up there right in the very beginning and then said, "Hey, come here for a second. I gotta talk to you over here by this. I need to tell you something about that guy." And it's almost like what they were told was so damning that they focused on him what took place in the very beginning for them to focus on Seth. It does sound like a setup, doesn't it? It does.
I don't know about other people, but I use my PlayStation if I'm watching TV. All my streaming services run through my PlayStation. I have a smart TV, but it's an old smart TV. Like, Netflix doesn't even work on it anymore. I got that notification probably like 5 years ago.
Yeah, no, that's pretty standard to use your console for that stuff.
Right.
So it's like, you took all this stuff, but you didn't take anything out of his room at his mom's house. His Switch was still on the floor when I was there. The PlayStation was still there. You know, the next day, that's when they took our phones. And then they complained about the fact that Chris gave them a phone, Katie gave them a phone, I gave them my only working phone. The other phone that I had no service, just Wi-Fi connection. And I use it so that I can listen to music while I sleep. Because that's just what I do for background. And then they turn around, they had my phone for almost 12 hours to download it. I use my phone for everything, you know. It's not like they had my phone long enough that my mom and dad didn't know what happened. That my friends and stuff were calling Clarksville PD to do well care checks on me because they didn't know what happened. And it's like, they asked for my phone. I wasn't even able to use it to send any messages to people to let them know, hey, law enforcement has my phone. Don't be worried if I don't answer it.
But you were willing to let them do whatever they wanted to do and take however long they wanted to take, because in that moment you knew you had nothing to do with it. But in that moment you were thinking about, hey, I want to get myself cleared so we can move forward. Correct?
Correct. I don't want them wasting time looking at me when they need to find my son.
Is that what you felt like? You felt that they were looking at you?
After they came to my house and they trashed my house the way they did? Yeah. Yeah. When they took my electronics and they didn't touch Chris or Katie's electronics for over 2 weeks. Over 2 weeks. They didn't touch any of their electronics except for their phones.
That's crazy. 2 weeks.
They didn't take Sebastian's PlayStation. They didn't take his Switch.
2
None
weeks.
of that stuff.
You know how much shit you can scrub in 2 weeks? All the shit you can scrub in 2 weeks. And then, if it's already a shoddy investigation, hell, who says you couldn't go get a new phone and then be like, yeah, here's the phone. Oh, well, it's all new dates. Well, we're just not going to investigate it further, right? What'd you do with the other phone? Oh, I threw it away. Oh, okay. Well, here you go. Horrible.
How do you know that?
Because I called up Chris and I said, Chris, they still have all of my stuff. I can't even watch the news. I can't do anything. I can't relax in my house. I can't sit down and watch a movie. And he was like, well, you can come pick up Sebastian's PlayStation. What do you still have this stuff? Yeah, we have all of our stuff. You can come pick up his stuff.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, I go to Chris's house that morning. And this is This is 2 weeks later. And he's like, I can't give it to you. My account has been hacked, and somebody has bought in games like Minecraft and stuff like that on his account. This is how I found out that they had never collected any of the electronics at that house.
And I want to point that out too with what he just said right here. The account was hacked and somebody was buying Minecraft. And that never was checked into. The account is what got hacked. I am too. Somebody hacked the account and was buying games. That wasn't investigated either. Exactly, right? Who hacked the account? When it comes to numbers, who can remember numbers and passwords at the snap of a finger? It could be just an excuse, but at the same time, it could also be something else. Just interesting.
I can't give it to you. My account has been hacked, and somebody has bought in games like Minecraft and stuff like that on his account. This is how I found out that they had never collected any of the electronics at that house. That means that it was more than 2 weeks before Katie even turned in the dash cam off of her vehicle. That tells me that they were suspecting me of having my son before they were even investigating the Proudfoots. They didn't do shit.
They asked you for an alibi?
Told them I was at work.
But did they ask you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I've been at work for the last 12 hours. I was at work starting on camera at about 6 o'clock when I pulled into the garage until I left Monday morning after 7 o'clock.
Did they tell you that they were going to verify that?
Yep. And I
Did
told
they
them,
tell you if they ever did verify that?
They did verify that.
They told you that they did.
Yep. My work let me know that they verified it as well.
There you go.
And how would that be verified, Seth? We know that there was time card stamps that were issued that your attorney got, but there's also, they would also go directly to the cameras showing that you were on pod and that you never left that area, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
The way Davidson County works is that it's not the Freedom of Information Act, but you can request information because I'm a civil servant, which means I really don't have very much privacy when it comes to me being employed.
And there would be even less hoops to jump through law enforcement to law enforcement, correct?
Correct. They would, somebody would ask, they'd come in, and they would show them the video.
Gotcha.
So is this still the first day
that they asked this information where I was?
No, when they went through your house.
Yes, day one that they went through my house.
So you went back with them to your house from Chris and Katie's. And
Yes.
How long did that whole ordeal take?
They were here for about an hour and a half.
And then did you head back?
No, they told me to stay here.
To stay at your home?
Yes.
Did they give you a reason why?
No.
So is that the end of day one?
Yeah. Except for several phone calls that I was making, find out if there was any update, any information, anything going on.
So they told you not to go back to Chris and Katie's.
They told me not to go back that day.
The next day you went back?
Yes, I did.
And that's when you started the day after day getting in the woods, correct?
First of all, we were again told not to be going through the woods, but it was driving around every road, screaming for Sebastian's and hollering his name. I would literally leave here. I left here at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was down there by 5:15 before the sun came up. Would go to Chris and Katie's house, check in with law enforcement. By then they had and I was going to the command center that they had set up. So I was going there, checking in, seeing, because they were no longer there were detectives at the house, but all the search crews were at the command center.
So during that time, would they pull you aside and say, Seth, this is what we've got going. This is where we're at. This is what we've learned. We just wanted to keep you in the loop as the father. Was there any of that?
No.
No,
It's hard hearing this. There was there was a lot of you stay here and you stay here and you stay here, but no reason to update you. They profiled him from the very get-go. For what? When we watched that court TV clip from 7 months ago that I showed you before we started watching this, you're telling me you focused on him? You're telling me you focused on him after... What are we missing? This is absolutely ridiculous. This is... That's why we try and push so hard to try and make a difference out here with everything that we're doing in all these different communities, because you see this shit that happens and it just eats you inside, and you sit there and you go, why is the world so damn ugly? Why is the world so damn ugly? That's why we try and make a difference, and we're out there in different communities and we're doing different cases and trying to bring awareness to all of them, because it's just like this. You see this and it's like all you can do is try and help. It's so sad.
Any of that?
No.
No, it doesn't sound like it would be, especially if they were searching his house the first day. I mean, they were looking at him as a potential suspect, which, by the way,
that's a good point, Matthew. It's a good point, Matthew. Because it seems like that's what it seems like, right? Set up from the get up. It's a setup from the get up.
This is what we've learned. We just wanted to keep you in the loop as the father. Was there any of that?
No.
No, it doesn't sound like it would be, especially with if they were searching his house the first day. I mean, they were looking at him as a potential suspect, which, by the way,
is normal.
I have no problem with. I mean,
right.
Nor should anybody, but I mean, it should go both ways.
It's normal.
Yeah, but
I didn't see it happening to them.
Right. Nah, that's where it gets odd.
Yeah, and I mean, in the spirit of what Josh said, going both ways, I mean, you would at least think that they would be as critical of the last person seen with him.
Especially
I saw them trusting them more than them trusting me.
Right.
This is crazy. Can you guys hear that? They trusted them more than him. It's what the hell is wrong? All right. I think what we're gonna have to do is it kind of ran a little bit later than I had planned. There's just a lot to talk about and to go through in this, and I'm sorry, like there's just so much when you hear what's going on, and it's from the jump start. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and we'll do this. We basically watched the first hour, well, pretty much in half. It's 103 and the total is 206. So what we'll do is we'll save the second hour. This is the first hour. We'll save the second hour for tomorrow night. I am going to be doing it a little bit earlier than I did tonight because I'm going to be heading back to the Midwest, and tomorrow night is when I kind of got to get some rest and get everything situated for the travel. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and end this one. We'll do part 2 or hour 2 tomorrow night. I'm guessing it's probably going to be around 5 o'clock Eastern. Maybe 6 o'clock Eastern would probably be a time that I'm going to have to do it, because I do need to be done tomorrow night around 9 or 10 Eastern. So, but we definitely have to finish the second hour because there's so much more. And we got Justice for Micah protest. We'll be there tomorrow morning. That's kind of part of the reason too why I have to be done a little earlier tonight as well. We just have a really busy day tomorrow. Bright and early, so we'll be going to the protest, Justice for Micah. Then we're going to have a little something for Amber Berbelia's case, And then probably, I'm just going to say around 6 o'clock Eastern, I think would be a good time where we'll get back on and we'll hang out and we'll go through this second hour. Again, here's the link to this episode. If go show some love, hit the like button, leave a heart and a trophy, some prayer hands and some green hearts. Thank you so much, Rachel. I appreciate you so much. Leave some green hearts, and I'll go ahead and put out this notification for tomorrow already tonight. Also going to do the one for Micah. So we'll see you back tomorrow. We got some traveling, and then we got some things coming up this week out there at these different locations. So I'm sorry, I'm going to miss you guys, but I do have to get some extra rest for the long day tomorrow and the long drive after the long day. So thank you all so much. I appreciate it. We'll definitely check it out tomorrow. I love you guys. Have a peaceful, positive evening. Sebastian strong. Hashtag let's find Sebastian now. And shout out Seth. Thank you for your strength. And shout out to Tony and Josh for holding everything down. And I can't wait to check out the rest and really just bring attention to what took place. It's so unfortunate, you guys. It really is. And being a parent myself, and full custody, and the restraining orders against the mom because of kidnapping threats and all this other stuff. It and then to see Seth and how he was treated. I don't know how. It's a strong individual. I love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow night. Please hit the like if you haven't yet. It is the free way. And if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. And come on back tomorrow night, and we'll be talking some more about it. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Good night, everybody.
Stand for.